All right, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one will be doing my weekly review for the second last episode of the first half of Fear the Walking Dead Season 6. This is for episode 6 now. It is called Bury Her Next to Jasper's Leg. Alright, so I definitely wanted to do another review this week for this episode of Fear the Walking Dead. We do have one more episode left after this episode, which is the finale for the first half. So, based on the AMC published schedule, they were able to finish 7 episodes of the 8, but they were not able to finish that 8th episode that we're usually used to, which usually is the mid-season finale. So for this season of Fear the Walking Dead, the mid-season finale will be next week's episode, episode 7. So this episode, episode 6, Bury Her Next to Jasper's Leg. Alright, so as you guys have seen this season, if you're caught up with Fear the Walking Dead, if you're not, definitely check it out. This half season so far I think is probably easily one of the best they've ever done, if not the best half season of a Fear the Walking Dead season we've ever seen in the series. Every episode has just been kind of a spotlight type episode on certain characters, led by certain characters. In this one, we have this episode led by June with Lucy kind of as backup, and John, and then also we have Virginia, who has a lot of time in this episode, more than she usually does. So basically the premise of Bury Her Next to Jasper's Leg is that we have a supposed accident or deliberate sabotage of the oil wells. So if you guys remember from last season, from season 5, Lucy, who if you go back on further, was Nick's girlfriend, if you guys remember back in season 2. So, and now she has out-survived Nick, surprisingly, as we've seen in the last few years here for Fear. And she has been working for Virginia on the oil, on refining oil, the different oil wells they have here. And we've seen some promo pictures and stuff like that for this episode, for this season, in seeing some of the oil drums or the oil wells on fire, this whole thing, and the wind changing directions, as we've seen in this episode, and a pretty big explosion, which was pretty damn cool, with Virginia and June sort of caught nearby in the mix. So we start the episode off with a lady who's running, who's being chased by Virginia. We get a frog story from Virginia, which is equally funny. The actress who plays her is also in The Boys, and she plays like this, I guess, like a Hollywood agent, manager type of character in The Boys. And she's really funny in The Boys as well. To see her in this role after seeing her there is just equally funny. She makes me laugh a lot. At least earlier on in this episode I did. As we got later on in the episode, not as much because things got more serious, but the end is the beginning. So we have the end is the beginning written on all these different things in spray paint, and later on we get into a situation where Wes is hurt from the explosions and everything that's been happening at the oil refinery, and they find some cans of spray paint in his locker or his area. And because, as we remember, Wes likes to paint and write, I think, as well, too, because he had the manuscript that was, like, stolen from him by that guy last season. And so, Virginia thinks that he is the one who's been writing the end is the beginning, and that's that whole kind of thing. It looks like there are different groups of people that are sort of going against Virginia, going against the Pioneers. So not just Morgan and the people that he's with, not just Sherry's group with the those who were wearing the masks, but in addition to that, also the guys that Morgan had fought, part of another group. It sounds like the end is the beginning. So quite a few kind of splinter groups here wanting to go against Virginia. And by the end of this episode, we see John decide to go his own way, and what is an awesome scene as the road splits. And they kind of go down different, him and June sort of go different directions, in that June has been promised a hospital, so she wants to do that, and John wants to kind of go off and leave. Sad that June isn't coming with him, but it sounds like he kind of has to for his own mental well-being. Otherwise, he won't be able to survive with the guilt and everything that he's feeling as being a part of what the Pioneers are doing. So we have a discussion with this lady about the future and Lawton. So she ends up shooting herself And then Virginia says to bury her next to Jasper's leg, which is like a leg from before that they buried nearby. And then we have the intro. So we have the intro focusing on June, and you get a sense of why as the episode goes on through. So if you guys remember, June is like a nurse, and so she's very passionate about helping people, nursing, nurturing, that whole thing. And so we see her kind of with Sarah in sort of a makeshift truck hospital, or makeshift truck, paramedic ambulance, truck ambulance type of deal as they're going around and helping people. So they get the call for the oil section that has basically been on fire and exploding in the whole bit. So June and John and the others, they kind of head over there. We have June with Sarah, and we also have a guy who's got a ruptured appendix. Malcolm, I think is his name, but it's too late for him. And what is a pretty cool and kind of scary scene where it switches from June trying to help him, possibly giving him some adrenaline, to him flatlining when they try to remove his appendix, because probably he hadn't eaten for a few days. It seems like he was kind of losing it anyway. And so in the process of her trying to help him, unfortunately it doesn't work out, and he does die on the table as she's trying to do CPR. But Sarah can see that that he's starting to turn. So very tricky to be a nurse in the zombie apocalypse, because you have patients as they're dying, they are then quickly turning and becoming zombies attacking you. So very exciting scene as the guy flatlines as she's trying to help him, and then he quickly turns and attacks her, and then Sarah ends up with the assist, putting him down, and it being a super good thing that they did not give him adrenaline just before that, because then you have a zombie with who just got pumped full of adrenaline in close quarters and nowhere for you to run. So also an exciting scene, and Sarah calls Virginia Freckles, which I thought was fun. And the question of them building a hospital, which later they come back to. So then we have basically John lets her know that he doesn't want to stay and continue this. He wants to leave. He's got a place or whatever, cabin or what have you, and so he wants to go. And then we get to the call from Lucy, and they show up there of the wells that are on fire and blowing up in the whole bit. They come in, and it's all kind of chaos. Virginia shows up, and June just wants to go and help everybody and save as many people as she can. Virginia wants to know what's happened here. Pretty quickly figures out this wasn't an accident. This was deliberate sabotage, and she thinks maybe Wes did it, or maybe some of the others had done it as well. So she's kind of poking Wes, I think, with a finger to try to get information out of him, as he's got some shrapnel, it sounds like, in his stomach. And so her and June start to go at odds. So then we have everything on fire, chaos everywhere, a lot of people hurt, a lot of people injured. And then after they die, them turning and coming out of the truck and attacking everybody. You've got the black gold everywhere, oil spraying all over the place. And then you have all this just chaos and craziness happening. So you have the two opposing camps. June wants to go and help everybody, and Virginia wants to start probably putting people down before they turn and finding out what happened here, which she sort of does. So you have all the craziness going on. The end is the beginning, and then we have Virginia and June, who end up in a certain section as this big explosion goes off from the wells, the wind changing directions, the fire spraying down, hitting the barrels, and then a big kaboom. And they end up getting kind of trapped inside of this building, with just Virginia and June being there by themselves. And then you have, a very exciting scene, one of the most exciting of the season, because we sort of have Virginia set up right now as like our Negan for Fear the Walking Dead, or maybe Governor or something like this, as a walker attacks her. And this part contains spoilers for you, so a very exciting scene. She does get bitten on the hand, which I was like, oh wow, so it was pretty exciting, because I just didn't think they would do it, and they did it. And then you can kind of see pretty quickly where they're going with it, in that Virginia takes her belt off, they put the walker down, and then she starts tying it around to restrict the blood flow. And then you have them notice that there's an axe there, but you still have the disagreement between June and Virginia on how to help everybody, what to do, this whole kind of thing. So then we have Virginia's going for this. There's a little hatchet there, so she's going for it in order to amputate her hand to stop it from spreading. But doing that by herself, it doesn't seem like that's something that you'd be able to successfully do yourself. If you tried to do it, you'd most likely bleed out, I would think. You have to have someone there to help you with it. So now it becomes a question, will June allow Virginia to die, or will she save her, right? So even after all the things that Virginia has done and everything of the sort. So it is very exciting stuff going through here. June says that she wants her husband back, that whole thing. And so it comes to question, is she going to fulfill her oath to do no harm and save Virginia as a nurse, cut her hand off, and then cauterize it to stop the bleeding with the hatchet, heat it up, and use that to cauterize it or stop it from coming out and everything, so that Virginia bleeds out and dies that way. So she has a very difficult decision here inside of herself to make. The others even afterwards saying, like, why did you do that? Hope you know what you're doing. But she does decide that she's going to save Virginia, and she does amputate the hand that's been bitten and cauterize it or stop the blood from coming out. And Virginia wakes up later and is pretty much safe. Also questions of Dakota here and keeping her sister safe. So Virginia doing all this for her younger sister, Dakota, which you can sympathize with and you can understand, but her methods are a bit extreme, right? As we've seen, killing people in the whole thing who just want to leave, and this whole kind of deal. So you could say that in terms of like the lockstep paradigm, Virginia is too strict. She's too over strict. Right? She's not loose enough to let people leave. Because if you think of it this way, if Virginia let people leave and let them do their own stuff and gave them more of that freedom, they wouldn't rebel against her so much. They'd say, okay, well, I can come and join Pioneers for a while, do that, and then if I want to leave at some point, I have the freedom to do that. By giving people that more sense of freedom, they wouldn't be rebelling against her. They'd have no reason to. So by her being so authoritarian and so strict on everybody, they rebel back against, which is a natural phenomenon that just occurs when you deal with leadership that's too strict or too overt or too overkill, which Virginia has been, killing people who want to leave, that whole thing, and John getting tied up in that. So, because you think about it in terms of a cost perspective, so you kill off, is it Janet and her husband before her, so you kill off those two, but now you lose John, right? So you think of it from Virginia's perspective here. If Virginia had just let them leave, then you wouldn't have the situation with John. Now you lose your best shooter that you have in your entire community, and your best fighter that there is. If you give him a couple guns, he can take out anybody. So now you lose him. So you see how tighter top-down control from Virginia's side of things makes it worse for her because she's too tight with it, and now people are rebelling, they're leaving, they're wanting to go against her. Which is the case also with Morgan, her shooting Morgan instead of allowing him to join too and kind of being better in that way would have been better for everybody because now she has people coming back against her. So that's those are her decisions, and that's what happens as a result. So we get the hand kind of there on the ground and everything. Wes survives. It looks like he's saved in this one. I did think for a second they might kill Wes off, but I remember there's the was there written on the bridge? There was the Easter egg that's written on the bridge. Is it A or W and then the heart A or something like that? I have to look back to it if you guys remember. But we know he likes to paint. We know he likes to spray paint. They did have the flashback sequence of him and Alicia painting above. If you guys remember that from, was it last season? Yeah, last season. Before, so them painting the trees and that whole deal. So still thinking likely that they might set up a romantic relationship between the two because Wes survives here. You might see that, but we have not seen Alicia too much this year. Just in was it the second episode? Just the second episode, and then not after that. So maybe next episode, likely soon. Because she has not had much time this year. So possible relationship still between her and Wes likely being set up. So we have the hospital, our people, and Wendell. So the big divide at the end, which is the highlight of the episode for me. So you have John and June. They love each other, everything, that whole deal. So it's June's dream to help people. That's her mission in life. That's her deal, right? She's a nurse, whatever. And now she's like a doctor pretty much in the zombie apocalypse because she has to. She's got the most experience of anybody, so she's going to be doing all of that functionally. So she's basically a doctor based on necessity. And so she has the ability now to, because she saved Virginia's life, Virginia has given her the go-ahead to build her own hospital, right? So giving her a hospital and doing that and because she's doing that, you have her. So you have June's buy-in like crazy that she wants to stay because this is her dream. Her dream's going to come true now. She's going to get her own hospital where she can help a lot of people and she can have a more a better place to be able to serve her purpose. John is just being eaten alive inside by the fact that Virginia killed those two, him not being able to save them and protect them, and him just wanting to kind of get out because he sees how corrupt the system is, that if anybody wants to leave, Virginia's going to hunt them down and kill them. And that is evil to do that, to restrict people's freedom and then kill them when they want to leave. So John decides that even though he loves June, they have completely different trajectories here, right? You see this in life as well too, in marriages, relationships, whatever. You have one that wants to go off and do their thing over here. That's their dream, so they go off and do it. And then sometimes it doesn't click with what the other person wants to do. So then the difficult question, does he stay with her in a place that he hates and a system that he hates and despises because of what he's seen, or does he go off likely to maybe find Morgan and the others, hopefully, which will be really good. So I thought it was a great scene. I love the way they shot it at the end where the road kind of forks for them. A fork in the road, they hit a crossroads, or they fork in the road and they both go different directions. So amazing episode. I thought it was awesome. Great for June because I wasn't really... I remember earlier, like when she started off, she was kind of like a villain, or she's back and forth kind of thing, the different names and stuff for her. But I liked what they did with her a lot in this episode. I like that she remains a hero and a good guy, even though the system's a bit corrupt that she's in and a bit nasty. And so I thought it was an awesome episode. Best episode of the season so far. Actually, yeah, I think it is. Just because I thought that the ending was very touching. Oh, right. You also have Wendell who returns for Sarah, which is good, which they have used those two a lot more than I thought they ever would. I thought they would just be killed off like the first season they were introduced. But love the stuff with John and June. The road splits and they go their separate ways. So I'm going to give this one a 10. I think it's... perfect episode. It's exciting with the stuff Virginia being bitten, unexpected, and I really wasn't sure if June was going to save her or just let her go and or kill her herself at that moment when she had the axe, hit her with the axe or something. But she decided to do her duty, and now is going to be able to do it even more with a hospital. Tricky stuff, right? But great stuff in terms of the separation between John and June. Absolutely loved it. So that's my review for this week's episode, guys. I think it's the best episode of the season. One of the best episodes ever. And I'm really impressed with what they've done with John and June. I think it's great. And also Virginia, too, a little bit. And what that means going forward. So that's it for this review, guys. I'll see you back again soon. Remember, one more episode left for this half for Fear the Walking Dead. And I'll see you guys back again soon for a live stream. If you like this video, please don't forget to thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and you can subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for this one. See you guys again soon for another. As always, this is Trev, and I'm saying peace later, guys. See you soon.